Right, mate. It's been a lovely little weekend. Just focusing on like a couple of games, really. The biggest one, obviously, being at Wembley. But before we get absolutely stuck into what went down on Wembley Way in that kind of goal spectacular on Saturday night, what's your moment of the weekend?
The moment of the weekend for me happened at Wembley, and that was seeing Fran Kirby get her flowers, which was very nice. Literally, figuratively, and literally. There was a lovely little video montage played on the screens as well, which would bring a tear to anybody's eye. So that was really nice to see, and great to see her come out and get the applause and get her shirt and everything else. And she also brought out the Euros trophy for all to not see because it was done in the dark. So that was also nice pre-match. But yeah, it was lovely to see her get her moment because she's left a big mark and a big hole in that England team.
It is massive. Like the legacy that she's left, like when they were doing the montage, it was, like you said, quite emotional to kind of like see what she'd done. Like, she's a legend, but I think like when you track back her career, all the clubs that she's been at and the accolades and the achievements and the trophies.
Her breaking through.
Literally.
And there's a goal she scored against Arsenal in, I can't remember if it was the League or the League Cup, and she picked up the ball with her back to goal, I'd say about like just inside Arsenal's, in the circle in the half, right? Picked it up with the defender behind her, literally just turned the defender like she wasn't there and ran the length of the pitch and scored. And I remember thinking like, she's going to be big. You know, she had the kind of the Bieber haircut. Remember?
I remember that. It's very like Ash Neville type vibes.
Yeah. And then going to the 2015 World Cup, being included in that squad and being labelled like the mini Messi, and you know, so it's great career she's had. And it was a nice moment at Wembley.
Love that. Well, speaking about another person, my moment of the weekend goes to kind of like a long-standing WSL legend herself. Massive credit to Anna Moorhouse making her international debut. Obviously, all the opportunity came across because... I think obviously Hanny Hampton out injured, Kiara Keating also picking up a niggle just before the game too. But like you look at kind of the longevity of Anna Moorhouse's career, you know, starting at Everton, she had spells at Durham, Donny Bells, when that was kind of like, you know, Donny Bells being the big kind of stalwart in the WSL, Arsenal, West Ham, you know, going across the country as well, Orlando Pride, and then England in 2024. So making that debut, I just think is such a lovely moment. And I was kind of gutted in a way that she wasn't called into action a little bit more.
She made, I think, 2 saves.
Yeah, like she wasn't setting out
I feel like that's what you want. I think that's what you want on your debut. You're like, oh man, I'll make a couple of saves and just leave me alone for a while. I want to just enjoy it.
It's a good one to have on your record, though, isn't it? Like a clean sheet is your debut. I think that's always a nice one.
I also love the videos that come out afterwards when Serena's giving them their caps and it's always so nice. And they were all in their Christmas jumpers. Did you see they had a festive evening? And when she's like, I'm so proud of you. It's like, it's just so cute. So that was also nice to see her actually get the physical cap.
100%. And just a very mini moment of the weekend as well. Massive shout out to Serena Wiegman's coat, which made a really special entrance into the pitch.
Did you see it? Was there a lot of talk about it?
A lot of talk about it. Yeah, it was. If you haven't seen it, go and see it. It's this like kind of like pink fluorescent vibe. It's like a pinky, like salmony
brown.
Was it brown?
Yeah,
it feels more like a pinky brown.
Someone
salmon
described
type.
It as a shiny poo. And it was made worse by the fact that
take that back.
Not me. I didn't describe it as that. That the China manager, I've lost her. The China manager looked to be wearing like a matte coloured poo jacket, and she was wearing a shiny one. And my response to that comment was, they always say you can not polish a turd, but you can roll it in shiny.
That is the worst thing you've ever said in all the years that we've done this podcast. That's actually like borderline blasphemous.
Someone's just slammed the door. I think they're coming in to tell me off for that.
Yeah,
bad
good.
Joke. Anyway, that's what someone said, poo. Yeah. I was closer to it than you. I really don't think it was salmon.
I really liked it. I thought it complemented her skin tones and her hair. I thought it was really lovely.
Wear it next week. I'd like to see you come sheeny shiny walking through the door in that coat.
You're actually such a wrong, and I can't believe you said that. That's gross. It's nearly fucking Christmas as well. Grow up.
What's that got to do with anything?
Moving on. England 8-0 against China. Almost 75,000 people in attendance at Wembley to see England's biggest win since their 10-0 defeat of Luxembourg in 2022 in the World Cup qualifiers after the Euros.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it felt like it was a really nice moment. Obviously seeing everyone flood. I always love seeing people flood up to Wembley.
2 hours plus before, and it's jammed.
Well, you've got to get your seat in Box Park, haven't you?
It's amazing.
Right.
Like, especially when you're at the top of the steps. Although I will say, if you're at the top of the steps, please don't stop. It's so annoying. Everyone just stops at the top of the steps, and you're like, oh God, no, but you're going to bump into them, and then they're going to go tumbling down it. Just
got to take a cheeky little photo.
Step to the side, just
a
wee bit. Just step to the side a wee bit. But that kind of or that bridge, the bridge in front.
Yeah,
the view
yeah.
from there of just like that sea of people. It's amazing.
It's lovely when you see it going in.
Yeah.
When you're watching from
coming
the
out.
bridge going out and
Dreadful.
you're thinking, I've got to get over there in the distance, about 5 miles away, and
Yeah.
it's wall-to-wall traffic. That's
When you
actually
see
quite
those
harrowing.
stop signs, that they carry now.
Oh, yeah. The lollipop ladies.
No.
Yeah. Georgia Stanway scoring her first ever hat-trick for the Lionesses, but kicked off by a very, very quick goal by Beth Mead. I mean, I don't want to run through every single goal because there isn't enough time in the day to do that.
No, but there was a difficult 4 minutes for China specifically.
Wasn't there just, started off by Beth Mead, a beautiful ball over the top, kind of like, I mean, taking that ball down in the deftness of the touch and then being able to it was like almost like a toe poke past the keeper. Absolutely brilliant. You can see how much it meant to her. Fans going absolutely crazy. It felt like England were kind of finding quite a lot of luck and positivity on the wings. It felt like a lot of their chances were coming wide.
Yes, I think they took a few minutes to adapt to the fact that I think China were playing a back three or back five, if you like. But once they worked that out, they realised how much space they had on the wings. And when you've got Lauren Hemp back, and Beth Mead on the right, they're really stretching that back line. So I think what was great about this game is that in previous windows, the complaints have been that England have not been taking their chances against teams, ranked further down that you would expect them to be scoring more against. They've struggled to convert. And I think the fact that they got 8 goals from 9 shots on target is a big takeaway for them, because
not bad.
That just starts to become a bit of a thing when you're not converting. I mean, just look at the likes of Arsenal. Like, you start to just think, oh God, am I ever going to get a bloody goal? And that can just kind of carry on. And when you're going into, World Cup qualifiers next year, difficult teams in your group, you're not going to be getting as many chances. You want to be clinical. So that's, I think, a really big takeaway from this game.
I mean, they definitely were. I mean, so you got the 11th minute, you got the 13th minute, you got the 15th minute, and it just felt like there was this wave after wave of attack, and there was a relentlessness, I think, to England, that they didn't sit on their laurels. It wasn't a case of, we've come 2-0 up, we can kind of rest a little bit, let's go a little bit easy, recoup, and then go again. It was like bang, 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 and I absolutely loved it. I mean, the crowd were absolutely delighted. But I mean, Stanway really showing up for this game, massive moments for her.
And different types of goals as well. Like,
Definitely.
You've got your penalty, you've got the long range effort as well. Like a real nice array of goals for a hat trick. And, a couple of players, I thought Beth Mead was going to get a hat trick, but then she came off at half time. And I was expecting her to stay on until she got that third goal. But it was nice to see another hat trick for another player, because they're rare enough at Wembley, aren't they?
Yeah, 100%. It was such an iconic moment for her. Ella Toone, I thought, had an amazing game. Lauren Hemp. It kind of felt like, because there were so many injuries, I think in my mind, because they sort of brought in a couple of the newbies, like we've seen like a couple of the new faces in the England squad, I thought, is this going to be an opportunity for Serena Wiegman to kind of put out and like get those kind of first caps? But it kind of felt like a bit of a throwback. You've got your Bronze, you've got your, Walsh, your Stanways, your Mead, Toone, Hemp, Russo. It kind of felt like the old guard, but like not the old guard.
Yeah, I think a little bit of that. I think some people have this idea that there's players in that team that are like super old and coming to the end of their careers, and
I did not say that at all.
Not
I
you.
just want to
no,
clarify.
of course,
very
but
much in current
the
form.
likes of your Russo and your Toone and your Kellys, they're going to be at the prime, the peak of their careers come 2027. So this idea that they're like washed and shouldn't be playing is just a bit of a silly angle. I think, we saw a nice, blend of players coming through. You saw quite a different back line as well, which I think maybe the first time that back line has played together.
You've got Leah Williamson, Alex Greenwood out injured, and Jess Carter being rested. That meant Myla Tissier partnered with Esme Morgan at the centre back. Wiegman said of the defensive pairing, I think that went really, really well. They played together in the last camp too. They can show where they are as individuals and also how they connect together. I think it worked super, super well. So yeah, it was quite nice to kind of see that match up. And to be honest, I don't think they put a foot wrong all game.
No, I do enjoy fans thinking that they had any influence on Wiegman choosing Myla Tissier in centre back pairing. Like, I mean, big yourselves up all you like, but she's not looking at your tweets.
Yeah, I think she is actually. Tweets, Twitter, Instagram.
That's how she picks her team. Just you wait, there's going to be 11 new people starting the next game.
Look, she's down with the kids. Look at that jacket. Don't step in again. I have been kind of seeing a lot of discourse online. There's a kind of general sense that this was obviously, given it was quite an easy win. It was, a comprehensive one for England. And because of how China underperformed, I'd say, they kind of learned very little from this game. But you don't agree. I mean, there's a lot of kind of disrespectful narratives out there that, China are so poor that, well, what was the point in England playing these games? They're not going to get anything from it. It's just a bit of a waste of time. It didn't show us anything. It didn't kind of, progress England. It was a bit kind of like a training session. And that's such a disrespectful narrative to where China are at. They're Asia champions, just about to gear up to another one. They're ranked 16 in the world. Like, this is not a low ranked team who haven't achieved anything and don't bring anything to the table. I think, yes, they had a poor performance. We've seen England, like you said, kind of do the same thing on international friendlies where they've underperformed, and teams have done things that you shouldn't expect from an England side, with the talent that they have.
Imagine going 3-0 down in quick succession at Wembley. You don't have to imagine, because England have done that.
Yes, exactly. I like what you did there. But yeah, what's your takes on it? I think it's a bit of a lazy narrative.
I think this is why people call England fans arrogant sometimes, because, you should be looking at that and going, wow, like a lot of things went really well. A lot of things that haven't gone well in previous games, issues that England have struggled with, as I touched on, being clinical, creating more clear-cut opportunities, multiple people scoring goals. And China had a bad day at the office. They are ranked 16th for a reason. I think I don't know whether they were overawed by the occasion. As we touched on, when that happens, when you have like a mad minute of or 4 minutes, if you like, and suddenly you're 3-0 down, your game plan has gone out the window, and you're now trying to firefight on a pitch against the European champions, which is a very
panic
difficult.
Sets in
100%. So I think there's a combination of things. I think England played really well, and you were allowed to say England played really well. And it's not just because China didn't play well. One of the reasons China didn't play well is because England played really well, and there is a real reluctance to just appreciate when they do well. That I find really frustrating. China, look, they're gearing up, as you said, for the Asia Cup. They are in a transitional period at the moment, and what they're trying to do is challenge themselves against some of the best teams in the world. That is how you prepare yourself for a major tournament. It's not all about England, right? Yes, you're looking for friendlies. England want to play countries outside of Europe to prepare them for a World Cup. We've seen how well teams outside of Europe did at the last World Cup, and the challenges that they posed. And, there's different types of football all over the world. You need to be prepping yourself against these teams. For China, conversely, they've played the USA, they're playing England, they're trying to challenge themselves. Bad day at the office, but they will have learned loads. So sometimes there is this kind of, England-focused head, understandably from fans, but you have to actually look at the fixture rather than just me. For England, I think the fact that they were clinical, really important coming out of that. There's players back in, Lauren Hemp's back in, making sure those relationships are being knitted together again. When I touched on the ages of players, I think sometimes people think there's going to be a whole rake of new starting 11 come 2027. There's not. A lot of these players, as I said, will be in their prime at that time. And when new players come in, don't come in to play with other new players and build up relationships with players that they're not going to be starting with. They come 100%. In to try and build relationships with Georgia Stanway in midfield if you're Lucia Kendall, or, when Freya Godfrey does get minutes, who she's going to be playing with behind her, or, Ike Beaver-Jones is going to be key, who she's got in the wings with her. So it's that kind of matching of current and new to get those relationships built. And as I touched on, it's a homecoming match. People wanted to see a lot of the Euros winners. There's that entertainment value to the fixture as well. So there's a lot of different things from this fixture, and this concept of we shouldn't be playing these lowly teams. It just smacks of arrogance, and it's just a lazy narrative, as you said.
I think it was an interesting time to be playing a team like this because there were so many injuries in the England squad. It kind of felt like Serena also had to kind of problem solve about what she would do in the lead up to it. We've seen so many tournaments where in the lead up to it, in the last 3 months or so, big key players have been dropped out. Leah Williamson for the Women's World Cup, just as one of those. And I think it's quite nice to kind of see how those different combinations of work, how we can utilise those kind of more experienced players in the squad, and how they step up as leaders. We saw Beth Mead do that on the pitch, but I really liked what you said there about the sort of the global perspective on this and kind of how much it teaches you about teams with different styles of play, how they're going to problems. Because it could have been that, yes, they run rampant, they were 4-0 up by half time, but actually had China come out and adopted a different game plan, how the Lionesses adopt to that. So yeah, it is a shame that it does feel like a missed opportunity because China didn't bring much to the table for that game. But that like you said, is just an off one. But it'd be really nice. Obviously, they've got Ghana tonight. Yeah. They're going to face loads of different international countries, because you kind of think, well, Well, so you should. So you should kind of like see what these styles of plays are, and see how you do kind of match up with teams that you don't play that regularly, and how far they've developed. And
I love they've never played Ghana before. Like,
Yeah.
I love this is a team that this is which makes it really exciting as well. And I think as well, just going back to what you said there about like the game plan and how China came up. At halftime, Wiegman wasn't going to go, oh, we're 5-0 up. I'm going to throw out the plan we had and just suddenly decide to bring on players that I hadn't prepped or told you're likely to make an appearance from halftime. Like, and I think what's frustrated me a little bit is some of that narrative has come from media and ex-players in the media. And they, of all people, should know what a game plan is going to be like. And yes, you prep for different scenarios, but you're not going to suddenly at halftime go, I know I didn't tell you were playing, but actually, fuck it, we're 5-0 up, I'll throw you on. Like, that's not going to happen. And I think having experience in holding on to a lead or, all that kind of stuff are all moments that you need to experience before you go into a major tournament where you don't. I mean, I think back to Ireland being 4-1 up against Belgium and you think, cool, we've got this tie done. And then you end up finishing 4-2, going to Belgium, suddenly you're 2-0 down. Whoa, like 100%. Suddenly this comfortable cushion is no longer that comfortable. So all of those things are like little bits of experience that just go in the bank for teams when they go into a major tournament, and it's something you can pull on then when you find yourself in that situation. So
100%.
Sometimes the manager knows what they're doing.
No.
And it's crazy, but
he's only won the Euros like 3,000 times.
Trust the process.
Well, talking of international football, big news. The UK has launched a bid to host the 2035 Women's World Cup, kind of geared up to be the largest single sporting event to ever be staged in the UK. So that's England, Northern Ireland, Scotland and Wales submitted their bid last Friday. I mean, obviously, we kind of had a heads up already that this is going to be happening. Everyone kind of knew about it quite a lot of months ago. So
and then it was like, we've done it. And you were like, oh, yeah, no, I thought you'd already done it.
Yeah, it did feel a little bit like that. I won't talk too much on it because obviously we don't know if there could be kind of new entrants to it, and they haven't had the bid confirmed yet, so we'll have to wait and see. I personally think it's just lovely to kind of have something that's 10 years time to kind of look forward to. You've already had this like legacy of the last like 5-6 years or so of great football, and then to kind of have this kind of set plan really. And I'm going to touch wood here because like there's the worst thing would be like some kind of like really last minute bid from like a massive country and you just didn't see it coming, and all of a sudden all those dreams and hopes are dashed. But it's quite nice, I think, just to be able to plan in advance of like what the 10-year roadmap is for England.
Commitment.
Yeah, for women's football like in the UK. And yeah, to have that commitment and to kind of, I don't know, create that future legacy, I think, because like sometimes you do get a bit scared. It's all going so well. Like we've had so much success recently that actually we're kind of living in this bubble, but it's quite nice then to have like some this like the sunshine in the kind of like distance that we're all kind of like going towards.
And
you don't know where we're going to be at that point.
You can plateau as well sometimes on a journey when, you've won 2 major tournaments, you've won the Euros back to back. A federation might plateau and think, right, like we're doing real well, whatever we're doing is working, we'll just carry on.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right, to have that commitment and that bid and something to build towards for the next 10 years is very, very exciting. I can't wrap my head around like what I'm going to be doing in 10 years time.
How old will you be?
That is 22. It's fine.
God, you might have to retire.
I probably actually.
Is there an age limit for the pod?
Well, you're not far off it either. You're only like a few years behind me, so let's not get too excited.
Look at me. I don't look a day over 28 and you know it. Coming up after this, the League Cup is going to look a little bit different next season. All right. The League Cup. There's a lot to say on it. There's been a lot of discourse around this for the past week or so.
Why?
We'll talk about it. The League Cup draw took place last week. Fixtures will be played just before Christmas on my birthday, the 19th, 20th and 21st of December. So we've got the Liverpool v Chelsea fixture, Crystal Palace v Arsenal, Manchester United v Tottenham Hotspur, and West Ham United versus Man City. Let's talk a little bit about the draw itself, because we've kind of seen a couple of sort of brand faux pas recently that have caught the media attention. The draw was conducted by Portsmouth midfielder Ella Rutherford and her influencer partner GK Barry on the WSL TikTok account last week. A lot has been said about the nature of this draw. I think you probably will have seen it if you're listening to this
because
podcast.
It was on TikTok Live and then it was gone. So I don't know how you saw it.
There's a flash in the pan. But the savvy people, those TikTokers, have been putting clips of everything online. So I think there's probably loads of stuff out there if you haven't seen it. GK Barry has been accused of being unprofessional, making inappropriate jokes, putting a ball back once it had been drawn, admitting to not knowing how the draw worked, asking how good the teams were and what colours they played in. WSL Football have apologised to Spurs after GK.
I love that was the thing that they came out and apologised for. Of all of the stuff, sorry Spurs.
You got to prioritise your apologies.
Yeah, of course.
After she pulled out Tottenham's name and she said, "What do we think of Tottenham?" in reference to the Arsenal chant. What do we think of Tottenham? Shit. What do we think of shit? Tottenham.
Serena Wiegman's coat. Oh no, sorry.
Say that again, and we're gonna fall out. You're going to get yourself cancelled. I'll tell you that for free. I didn't like how the draw was conducted. I think what I would say from a positive perspective is that...
Got a lot of attention. Tell you what, wouldn't have got that much attention otherwise.
100%. Like,
maybe it's all the plan.
Awareness is key. Obviously, you've got a new brand entering the space.
No one's calling it the Conti Cup anymore.
100%. It did feel like a really low budget production, and I think it warranted something more. And obviously, you know, you want the host to be able to talk about that the teams involved in it, you know, how the matchups have been, what the previous matchups were like, you know, how competitive the game is going to be. Like, those are the kind of standard phrases that you want from a league draw. I think what they tried to do is obviously get in an influencer who's going to appeal to a different type of audience, who's going to give a bit more kind of, you know, fun personality, like banter, that kind of thing. And then they have chosen an actual player. So there is validity in the choices that they made. I can understand that. And you can brief people in, and at the end of the day, that's
my question.
You would hope that they were briefed in.
Didn't feel like anyone was briefed.
And obviously, once the draw goes live, you really have so little say about what happens. You can only just sit there and go, and that's pretty much all you can do once the feed starts to roll. So I can understand that. I think with these things, like, the intention is always good. How it actually landed,
the execution
was subpar, and it wasn't at the level that we need to expect from women's football productions. Rach, you're twiddling your thumbs as if you're
very calm,
ready to leap into this one. What was your take on the whole affair?
I think I don't think either side can be completely absolved of, you know, responsibility for how it landed. I know some people are saying, you know what you get with who you book, and yes, but there is an element of, you know, being briefed. If I'm doing something, I'd probably want to know a little bit about it. I wouldn't be comfortable doing something I didn't know anything about and then saying I didn't know anything about it. I understand the desire to expand to a bigger audience, but I do feel a lot of brands are putting all of their eggs in the Gen Z basket and all of their focus on Gen Z and Gen Z only, forgetting about the current audience and everybody else that you can also bring into the sport. So doing a draw only on TikTok.
Back in my day,
we just did it on the radio.
You'd be sent the draw by carrier pigeon, that kind of thing.
No, but doing it on TikTok, like, not everyone has TikTok. B, doing it live and then not having the option to watch it back. Like, yes, you might bring it to I don't know how many people watched it, but then that's it. Like, where's the kind of after the situation? People might want to watch a draw back. People might be in, I don't know, work and not be able to watch it live. Like, don't you want to then draw in more people to be able to watch something back? So that in itself was a bit unusual. Maybe do it live, and then I probably would have filmed it and then had the option to put it on your YouTube channel or wherever else you want to put on your socials. So that in itself was just a bit of we want to open up the audience, but we're actually going to do it where then it's really narrow and really small and very few people actually get to watch it. And then, yeah, just the whole, you know, the way the draw went, the fact that I think actually what really drew it out into the media was the whole picking up the ball, seeming to drop the ball and pull the same ball back out again. I feel like if that hadn't have happened, it might not have gotten the generated so much media around it, because then that calls into question the validity of the actual draw.
Sure.
And that's where the whole professionalism side of thing kind of came into it. That aside from all of the various innuendos and very direct jokes that were made and stuff like that, that, you know, I feel like then that then got brought into the whole thing because the actual draw bit of the draw was called into question. So yeah, look, definitely lessons learned. I will say maybe don't put all your eggs in one demographic basket. You can have fun without kind of, you know, damaging the actual, I guess, professionalization of something as important as a draw. You know, some people are calling for it to be done again, which is not what you want. Not what you want as a new brand coming
For
in.
sure.
You don't want to be like people questioning the whole friggin' draw of all things to question. So after kind of, say the League Cup final last year, the pitch debacle, and that was the big talking point. Sometimes you just want to land things well, and if it's not super exciting and super funny, but it's at least good and does what it says in the tin, sometimes that's okay as well.
100%. I think I rate they've tried something a little bit different by bringing in kind of an influencer to kind of bring in like this new audience. Like we've seen over the World Cup, we saw so many the Euro, so we saw so many campaigns with it. Do you remember like Chabadi G? He did like something with the red roses, and people saying, okay, well, he doesn't have like a natural link, but actually like what he brings is that comedic value to opening out the audience in that way. So I do get that, but yeah, it was just one of those.
Choose your moments, right? Like
Yeah.
I remember, Sky bringing some people on to do like during commentary of a game for the final kind of 10 minutes or something. They had like comedians on in the commentary, and they're like, I get wanting to bring in new people, but there's some things like a commentary of a game while you're watching a game or a draw. Just don't get those bits wrong, because they're quite important bits. But like in and around that situation, you can do fun stuff and have fun people in and have them on the panel or whatever it might be, do the after post match or whatever. But it's like those bits you don't want to get wrong, because that's when you start to lose some people a little bit, and you potential brand damage
I think
or whatever.
the women's space is in this kind of like innovative phase where they're kind of trying to reinvent the wheel. WSL football who are, trying to kind of navigate this new landscape. We still don't fully understand all the facets of fandom, and, the OG fans who've been in, following the game for 20, 30 years, and like these kind of the current fans who've grown up but still love football, like really into it, go to the games every week. And then these kind of new fans who kind of, across multiple teams, not too dissimilar to myself.
You're not young though.
Yeah, but kind of like a link to football for a cultural moment, like by fashion or music or whatever it is. So I think there is this kind of, okay, we have to try new things. I think there should be a space for doing that, and then appreciating once it's gone wrong, apologizing, putting your hands up. But I think, like you said, that there are things that you don't need to play with. They're fine. And I think it kind of moves away from the professionalization of the game. Like it is still a very professional game, and it should be taken seriously at the right moments.
And while I agree, and I'm all for innovation and trying new things, sometimes it comes off as being thought of quickly, a bit lazy, and lacking in, do people actually want assumptions? And I think there's a lot of assumptions made about demographics, and I appreciate wanting to, as you say, try new things, but the game is growing quickly and you're trying to keep up. You don't have to rush things. Everything doesn't have to be cool and shiny right now. Like, it is worth taking the time to understand your audience, to talk to your audience, to ask them what they want rather than assuming what they want. And there's plenty of, audience out there to talk to and ways to talk to them. So just that kind of research piece, and look, research in women's sport is severely lacking. We know that. So I can somewhat understand.
Definitely. Well, it looks like the tournament itself is going to be revamped by removing any teams featuring in the Champions League. At the moment, these teams get a bye through the group stage and play from the quarterfinals onwards. When we discussed the future of the League Cup back in October, several listeners said, stop giving the Champions League sides a bye through the group stages. It looks like things have gone one step further. It does still have to be approved by the FA, so this isn't something that has been confirmed. I personally, there's two sides to this. I welcome it from a player wellbeing perspective, because I think we are still trying to manage the loads of the top teams in the WSL who are playing these additional games, these additional fixtures, which do take a bit of a toll. I also advocate for kind of like expansion of the teams themselves to kind of create that additional depth to be able to get you through those multiple competitions that you go far in. The other side to it is that obviously from a League Cup perspective, you're trying to build up this like proposition of the League Cup being really important. I think obviously people kind of place it like fourth place in terms of like the priorities, but that's only going to stay where it is if you've taken out the teams who really cause the most excitement and that people want to see the most, because the championship sides, when they play these big WSL top sides, that's kind of when you get that real fusion of loads of fans going to the games, loads of fans getting excited, seeing these matchups that we otherwise wouldn't see. Like, there's a real uniqueness to the League Cup as a tournament, but I feel like taking the best of the best out of it detracts from the quality of the competition because you're not having that anymore.
For me, it calls into question the integrity of the competition.
Really?
A little bit, because it just feels like, again, it's a kind of lazy, quick fix to a problem.
Okay.
You're trying to manage the loading, as you say. You're trying to manage that you've been giving teams a bye, and the competition format needs to be looked at and improved. And so the answer is to just take out the three like top teams who by definition will be the three best teams because they'll have finished in the top three positions of the league. If you're a brand, I'd be like, hang on, I'm sponsoring this competition and you're taking out the three biggest or best teams in the league, which isn't brilliant. And it also feels a bit like you're trying to manufacture someone else to win it. You know, and then it's always...
Is that quite nice though? That we will see a different...
We will, but they'll be like,
WSL
well, we won
winning.
it, but only because. That's what people will always say.
I think maybe for the first couple of years, but then after that, it will just become the competition that has these teams in it.
I just think it calls into question the competition, because how can it be a League Cup with a quarter of the league missing?
How do you navigate the teams then that have to... So say, for example, a team in the Women's Champions League that goes to the final, that's 8 additional games. And these aren't just 8, run-around games. These are 8 absolutely huge games against absolutely huge competition that involves flying to various different countries across Europe that obviously impacts the schedule. You've got, 48-hour turnaround times. Like, how do you navigate that then with a competition like the League Cup?
Well, we had a whole episode where we discussed the various formats that you could do. There's also the option that we didn't really touch on, which is what the UEFA are doing at the moment, which is the kind of Swiss model where you're playing kind of 6 different teams or wherever it might be, many different teams rather than having it in a league setup, for example. You've also got, like, if you're a team getting to the final of the Champions League, like a Chelsea or an Arsenal, you've got a deep squad. And, I know these teams want to win everything, but also you've got academies, you could be giving younger players opportunities in these games. So I think there are other ways to look at it rather than just immediately pulling out the top teams. And then, I've touched on it, I think I said it in that episode as well, something Soph has always spoken about is a second competition after the winter break off the back of the League Cup, like a plate for teams who then drop out. And then you've got teams who are probably underloading, having the option to fight for a piece of silverware as well. So I just feel like it's a sticking plaster as opposed to, thinking about how the competition could be better run for everyone, because it's not really a League Cup if the whole league isn't involved in some way, shape or form.
Well, it looks like it's probably going to go ahead.
Yeah, I love how the Telegraph are like, UWCL teams banned from League Cup. I was like, they're banned.
It's weird terminology for it. They've basically been removed for safeguarding for their well-being in a way.
So let's start the league a week early.
That would also be quite helpful.
But that's what they did this season. If we're talking about well-being, do you know what I mean?
So BBC reported that the clubs voted in favour of this proposal to be brought in for the next season, that's the 26-27, after what's been called a comprehensive consultation process. So it does kind of feel like the clubs have obviously taken the stance that this is what they would like to see. The players I would have hoped been consulted in this process through the club. So it does feel like, actually, I know we're kind of debating it, but it's something that the players wanted to see.
Just don't call it a League Cup then.
Yeah, what would you call it?
The Subway Cup.
Subway -3.
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
The Everyone Else Cup.
League Cup.
4th to 12th Cup.
League Cup sub 3. Come on. So good. The new look competition will see the group stage being removed too. So with all teams being ranked in a single league table, their fixtures being dictated by the region. The knockout phase will be unchanged, with the top 8 teams in the league table heading to the quarterfinals, and the games will be scheduled on the same nights as Champions League
That's
fixtures.
such a good idea, because then nobody will watch them.
I was going to say, like, that in itself
Even that
feels
in
like
itself,
it's kind of
for
shooting
fuck's
itself
sake,
in
like,
the foot.
I mean-
like, you're taking out your big dog teams, and then you're also showing the games when your big dog teams
So we
will
won't
be
promote
playing.
it. That'll definitely improve the competition.
Yeah, again, some more creativity there from WSL Football, the FA and the clubs.
I was going to say wait
to
and see, but you can't really see, so wait and hear.
what we will never know what happens next. Coming up after this, the WSL is finally back. Oh, it's back.
Feels like ages, isn't
Feels
it?
like it's never been away to me.
Do you know why? Because I did the last time there was a league weekend, I had gone to Toronto to do the NSL. So it feels like absolutely ages since I've done a WSL game.
How many miles have you clocked up this year?
Oh, God knows. I don't know.
Like, how many trips have you taken?
Actually, less than previous seasons.
That's good.
Yeah.
You found any time for you and Soph?
No, God
You
no,
know,
Jesus.
Feet up, sofa,
Don't be silly.
bottle of red.
We filled it with some more football stuff.
It's like, even when you have weekends off, you still do football things.
Yeah.
Like, there's
Stupid,
no
isn't it?
helping you,
No.
essentially. It's your problem.
Yeah.
The title race resumes with leaders Man City facing Leicester City in what should be on paper a straightforward game, but you never know. Man City's last league game saw them beat Man United 3-0 on November the 15th. It's a game I don't really like talking about, but also
very good game to watch.
I do like talking about because my new favourite player is Kirsten Kasperai. So,
who made her 50th cap for the Netherlands this weekend?
Yes,
well
I feel
done,
like
Kirsten.
she's just going from accolade to accolade to accolade. I'm expecting Man City to win that one, to kind of keep this stronghold on that beautiful number one spot that they have become accustomed to.
Yeah, I think so. But I love coming back after like a period away and just seeing how teams resume, because that is a difficult thing to do both physically and mentally. We've seen some players pick up knocks during the international break. For bigger teams, maybe that's less of an issue, but for teams who are struggling depth-wise, that could be a real problem. I think not that the wheels have necessarily come off for Leicester, but they were kind of doing a little bit better than expected this season. And then the last kind of few league games, you were like, "Ooh, okay, maybe not going as well as we thought." So this is a tough game to come back to. I think for them, not so much a free hit, but like the pressure will be on Manchester City to, when you're sitting at the top, the pressure's on you to keep winning. So I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, just having a look at the recent run of form from Leicester, it just feels like so much has happened in the space of time that we've been on this international break. So Leicester currently sitting ninth in the table on 6 points. I mean, obviously against like top opposition, Leicester not doing too much, but still finding some form.
They were doing better than I think a lot of people expected.
Definitely.
But it just feels the last few runs not so much. But it'll be a tough game against Manchester City. And again, it very much depends on how Manchester City rotate their squad, or if players coming back from international break need less minutes or whatever that might be.
This is when you kind of almost determine like who's going to win the league in a way, like who can find their form quickly after that break, who can maintain what they had previously, like even after their players have been
and
here,
you've only got
everywhere.
a couple of WSL weekends before the break. Is
and
it a
you're
case
back into
of
like 3 weeks of nothing?
But is it a case of like just push through or manage loading? It's that kind of squad management that I think is
push through.
Is kind of
the breaks on the horizon.
Underrated.
It's coming, girls.
Keep going.
Second place Chelsea host Everton, who sit 1 point below Leicester. If they dropped points this weekend and Man City picked up those points, that would be a 6 point gap.
Yeah, I mean, look, Everton have had, we touched on this the last time we talked about the WSL, a tough run, and I've said I think a lot of it is down to lacking consistency across the squad and managing the injuries that they've had, and not being able to have like the same back line for a consistent amount of time, or the same forward line for a consistent amount of time. And they've played some good football, and they've not been necessarily able to get the results playing good football, which is frustrating. But you look at the performance, if they put in a performance like they did against Manchester City, that's going to be a tough day at the office for Chelsea. But conversely, you look at how well Chelsea played in the Champions League just before the international break, and the performance they put in against Barcelona where they drew 1-1. You would think then, if they put in that kind of performance against an Everton, they should comfortably win. So it is, again, very much about how they come back off the international break.
This is like one of those interesting weekends where you just think like...
you just assume, they'll beat them, but actually...
100%, this could be a trip-up weekend.
Or it could be where they come in full of confidence and hit the ground running, and then they have a winter break and they're like, damn it, I wanted to keep going.
It's never fucking over. That kind of vibe. Last week, the news broke that Everton's chief executive, Hannah Forshaw, is to leave the club at the end of the season. So she only started her role at the start of the season. They're only obviously 1 point above West Ham after the defeat against the Hammers last time out. It does feel like I'm not too sure what the context is behind this one. I was doing a bit of research actually on Hannah Forshaw, and she's an incredibly experienced, like she's an accountant for a start. That was how she started off her career. Has made absolute waves in women's football, and kind of felt like a really good safe pair of hands to kind of take Everton into this kind of new stage.
Has it said where she's going next?
No.
Well,
do you know?
No, but
do you know?
No, I don't know.
Oh, sorry, I thought that was a
no.
teaser.
I was going to say, but this is often the case. Like someone really good will get snatched up by
that quickly.
Oh God, yeah. So
I mean, like looking at her CV, I can understand why.
Yeah, and
for sure.
As I said, I think Everton need a bit more time. They need another window, and they need a season. Like they've literally had kind of January to the summer where they had a budget. And now they've September to Christmas where they have a bit of a budget. Like having that kind of benefit of squad depth and managing that rotation needs a little bit of time. But yeah, they are under the cosh a little bit.
Well, we will wait and see how they get on with that, especially after the news is broken as well. It's always a little bit unsettling. West Ham head to Man United away. That win against Everton was their first of the season. And Man United have obviously lost their last 2 games. I think that could be a very interesting matchup, that one.
Yeah, I mean, Manchester United, obviously, I feel like they struggled a little bit off the back of the last international break and dealing with those big Champions League games.
Definitely.
I think they will be relishing a home game against West Ham. They'll be looking to kind of put to bed any of those demons that they might feel were creeping in a little bit. I feel for West Ham, getting that win just before the break was super important because they are obviously coming back to Manchester United, which is going to be a very difficult game. And then they've got Liverpool, which will be a huge game afterwards on Sunday the 14th of December. I feel like the Man United game, the pressure isn't necessarily there. It's going to be the following weekend.
I'm expecting a very tasty fixture, to be honest. I feel like West Ham, should they keep the consistency of the form they had previously? I mean, we kind of look at some of their results. I mean, they're not losing by large amounts. They're putting the game to 2 clubs, but I don't know. Man United feel like they're lacking a little bit of confidence at the moment, and I feel like this could be a very good opportunity for West Ham to cause a little bit of damage. As much as I hate to say it, we'll see. Again, depends on how players might come back off international break, feeling really buoyed. Dominic Janssen has just been made the captain of the Netherlands. You could have players coming in off good results and feeling really confident, thinking we had the break we needed after the Champions League and that Wolfsburg game, and we can forget about that, and this is a new window and we can really attack it. Or it could be tired legs, tired heads, desperate for the winter break. We shall see. Oh, God, it does feel like a bit of a wait and see weekend, doesn't it? I'm excited for this one. Before we finish, we've received a very lovely question from Sophie on Instagram, a listener on the other side of the world. We've gone international and global.
Mate, we've always been international global.
But even bigger now, because we're getting in listener questions from the other side of the world.
We were there. Yeah, we did a podcast, the whole tournament from there.
Do you know, sometimes I forget about that.
I know, me too. Yeah.
It's crazy. So much has happened since then. Okay, Sophie said, "Hi, Chloe and Rachel. This is a very odd question, but I would really appreciate some education around football etiquette. I've lived in New Zealand my whole life where football isn't very big and almost no games are televised anywhere. I love women's football and the WSL, and I'm coming to visit my family, so I've got tickets to Arsenal versus Liverpool this weekend. I've never been to a football match before, and I'm so bloody excited." I added the bloody. "Over here, there is a lot less rivalry between clubs, rugby and netball, and I was surprised when my family, who are Spurs fans, refused to come to an Arsenal match with me, even though they don't watch women's football. More's the pity. This is probably a stupid question, but I really want the proper football experience, and I don't want to commit any inadvertent faux pas. So do you have any advice for me?"
Now, does it say if Sophie is an Arsenal fan? Because I feel like you could go and find where the Arsenal fan group are meeting up beforehand.
All day.
They often do that. I was
going
to
to any of the local pubs and you will find friends.
Well, this is the difficulty with the early bloody kickoff, is that a lot of these pubs aren't open, which is frustrating. But I'm sure the Arsenal supporters club group, I should say, will put out where they are meeting beforehand. So that is definitely worth reaching out to them. I was going to joke and say you have to do full kit and a bucket hat, but I don't want to not have a nice
just want to commit any advertent faux pas.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't feel like there's a lot of faux pas that you could commit. And I think the Emirates is a really fun experience.
100%.
I think you're absolutely right. Your family is missing out. Even if they are Spurs supporters, they could actually have a really fun day at the Emirates. And, they might watch either Arsenal or Liverpool lose. And I would expect as a Spurs fan that that's quite nice.
If you want to have a really amazing Emirates experience, I would start at the Highbury Islington station because you have the brass bands that kick off there and they follow the whole entire road down to the Emirates. That's really lovely, playing all like the women's football anthems. There's a couple of cafes on the way doing like your stereotypical like pies and chips, that kind of vibe. Definitely stop into one of there.
Is the Tollington open?
Maybe. The Tollington's a really good like pre-match pub. Definitely get stuck in there. Loads and loads of people. And it's super. I'd say all the pubs along that space and all the walk along there is super friendly. It's super accepting. It's super welcoming. I don't think you can have really a bad experience at the Emirates.
Enjoy the atmosphere outside, like the front of the Emirates is quite nice.
Yeah, by the little roundabout. Yeah. You've got all the graffiti around there with all the kind of
get some photos.
Yeah, get some Jamaican food as well. There's a really nice little Jamaican place on the corner that does a lovely little rum punch and some Jamaican patties as well.
11:30 in the morning.
then you've got a little cafe as well. Yeah, the Jamaican patties will blow the roof off your mouth. That'll wake you right up for the game. And then you've got like a little cafe on the corner as well. It's a shame it's not a Chelsea game, because I'd say go and have a look at Basil. He was down there last one I went to the Emirates. And then you normally have like the big crowd of like all the Arsenal fans who have been at the pub, like coming out underneath the bridge as well.
Which is why I think she should meet up with them, because then you can fully experience that.
Get in the crowd, be a part of it. So Arsenal fan group I think is a really great shout. And also there's
learn the chants.
There's some like Instagram groups like Lonely Girls Club and stuff like that. Sometimes they're doing events around women's football where it's just like people who like obviously have loads of friends on the outside, but like want to make new friends in like different spaces. So
or maybe have Spurs family who refuse to come to the game.
Yeah, or that as well. So can you please let us know how the experience is for you, and also thank you very much for listening to the pod on the other side of the world, and that's a really lovely question.
Are you going to that game? You're going to be in a box?
I won't be in a box actually. I'm trying to have weekends where I just sit and watch the games in front of the TV. I feel like I'm just trying to take some downtime as we head towards the Christmas period.
Amateur.
Literally there's it's also getting too cold. It's rainy
and
outside.
You were not at a cool wearing gal, so.
I can't find my cagoule, so I won't be doing that. I think I'm going to refrain. I think until 2026. But if anyone does want to offer me hospitality, then just drop us a comment in the notes. That'd be lovely. Thank you.